Well, hello everybody. This is Jennifer Hough, and this is day one of our three-part series, and I'm very, very excited. The reason I'm excited is this, because we are moving into a time of great change. And in fact, we're kind of in the middle of it, wouldn't you say? We're kind of in the middle of it. And so I just wanted to declare something, and it's this. We are either in a wrestling match with life, or we're dancing fluidly with it. And there are actually symptoms of both. I'll share those in a second. So you'll be able to do a little quiz on yourself to see whether you are flowing or whether you are actually in a wrestling match with life. And a lot of people who think they're flowing actually aren't. They've just got a sort of a low grade definition of it. And hi everyone, thank you everyone for joining us. Jerry, Lois, Sonia. Oh, we got people from Australia and China, Canada, United States. Well, right now we're all coming together, aren't we? So, hi Jasmine in New Zealand, Michelle in Canada. So you guys, if you have anyone in your life that you know has some of these symptoms, or maybe you experience them yourself, I would love it if you could pass this video on. Also, if you're on this page and you haven't liked us or followed us, please do. Any questions you have, just type them into the comment field, okay? All right, so I'm gonna declare again, there are only two options with life. One is that you're surviving or surviving better, that's one. The other option is you are actually thriving. I'm gonna say it in these terms. You are either in a wrestling match with all of life. In other words, here are the symptoms. You're trying to control it. You're trying to make it go the way you want. You're using a lot of effort to get the outcomes you have. And just, if you recognize any of these, just put it in the comments. I always love to hear. As opposed to, okay? As opposed to, and that's what we're gonna talk about today. Here are the symptoms that you're completely in flow. You're in a waltz with life. It's like life is showing up, you're showing up, and that 1 + 1, you and life showing up equals 11. Right? It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 11. It's like somehow, because of the way you dance with life, your life is being exponentially abundant. So how you know the symptoms of actually living in flow, and see if this fits for you. Really measure it. Because after we go through the symptoms, we're actually going to talk about 3 crucial things, skills that you can practice until tomorrow. And when we practice those skills, you're actually going to start to learn the skills to be in a waltz with life, to find flow, etc. But let me give you the symptoms. The symptoms of being in flow are everything comes to you, and the things that come to you particularly are often better than what you imagined. I'm going to say it again. A symptom of flow is everything comes to you, and when it comes to you and it doesn't even look like what you imagined, it's always better than you imagined. The second is you're giving from your overflow rather than giving from what you don't deplete. You're giving from your overflow. Does this make sense? So hold please. So you're giving from your overflow. That's the next piece. The third symptom that you're in total flow is that you find yourself, that your default is that you feel like you're fairly consistently blessed. Now, I know some people feel that way on some subjects really effortlessly. What we're looking for here is you feeling in that amount of flow all the time, okay? So, and thanks, Michelle. You know, that's what I feel. I feel like a lot of people are watching are in a flow a lot of times. I want to give you the skills so that you can actually start. We're going to start with 3. There are more skills than that, but we're going to start with 3 skills today that actually put you in the degree of flow that causes A, everything to come to you really consistently. 2, you're always giving from your overflow rather than scrambling, especially about love and money. And the 3 is that you feel blessed pretty much all the time, and there's not a lot of stop, start, or trying to wrestle life to the ground. All right, so how this is going to go is I'm going to talk about all the skills next. Then we're going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, tops 15 minutes. Then I'm going to give the most essential thing is I'm going to give you some homework at the end. Okay, that homework, if you can actually do it, okay, which you can. It's not if you could do it. It's like when you do it. As you do the homework, you're going to notice something happen to you. Now, there's going to be some stuff that gets in the way of you doing the homework. I promise you, and I want to remind you that when you do the homework, there's going to be a piece of you that wants to sabotage you being in flow because your personality might get something out of being a victim. Okay, your personality might actually get off on feeling martyrous sometimes, or like you've suffered and you want people to know it sometimes. Maybe you guys know someone like that right now. And what we really want to do is we want to imagine you would never need to suffer again, because basically you're feeling so darn empowered about your life and you knew exactly what to do to get you out of stuckness. Okay, you knew in an instant you could just like, oh yeah, those 3 skills, all I got to do is one of them, right? And if you did one of them, it would take you out. So some of you are not going to be great at this at first, okay? That's okay. There's only 3 rules for for doing these skills. There's 3 rules. You can write them down. The first one is there's no judging in flow. There's no judging yourself in flow, okay? So rule number 1, write it down. Remember, it doesn't matter what happens, if you screw up, if things aren't working, you do not get to judge yourself. It took me a decade to learn how to do all of this, okay? So you do not get to beat yourself up for doing it for 24 hours, okay? That's not happening. Don't make me come over there. Okay, the second rule of these skills is there is a degree of, let's say a degree of putting it into your own language. So don't believe me. Don't give your power away to me. Why am I saying that? Because there are no gurus. You got to figure out your way. Giving your power away to someone on a Facebook Live, anyone, people in power, one of the reasons I decided to do these 3 days is because I saw so many people giving their power away to news, giving their power away to reports, giving their power away to other people, giving their power away to people with fears. And I'm going to tell you that the only way this world is going to shift, and this is a powerful time for shifting because the cards are up in the air. We get to say how they land, but you don't get to say how they land if you're going to be a victim of life. So I need you can write down in the comments, I promise. The promise is, are you going to do this your way? So, and you could put I am in the comments if you want. Are you going to do this your way, right? So for those freedom seekers out there, usually people really love that. So, all right. The next rule or guideline, it's not really a rule, it's more like a guideline for doing this homework, because your life really will change as we talk about these 3 skills. So the next guideline is, when you do these, if one of these if it doesn't feel good, then you could stop. Don't do it. Okay? So do the other 2. So I want you to only do the skill sets to feel really good. Don't, if only one of them feels good, then do that one until the other 2 start feeling good. Okay? So we're good? All right. So 3 skills will be another like 10 minutes. I think we're going to do the homework at the end. You understand? We're going to do the homework at the end, and the homework is where the rubber hits the road. Now, do you have to watch these 3 Facebook Lives at 3:33 in order? Not necessarily. So if you have someone that joins afterwards, they can come into number 2 and listen to the replay afterwards. It'll always be a replay. For those of you that just joined, please like us and follow us here. The final thing is I'm going to also give you sticky notes I'm going to talk about some sticky notes, some messages you could leave yourself all over the house to remind you to do this work. The homework is going to build on itself. Okay? So, if you want to be a victim of everything that's going on out there, then you shouldn't listen right now. Okay? If you want to be right, that everything is wrong, then you are in the wrong place. If you actually want to be one of the ones that causes this world to go a new direction, then it has to start with your own life's new direction. Do you understand? You cannot say my life is only going to change until all of my circumstances shift, then I'll be happy. If politics get better, if everyone's health gets better, if all this, I'm not going to rest, I'm going to suffer until that's over. What we want to do is we want to get into creating a different world now. And the world starts with you, and then the collective is like going globally, locally, right? It's like, it starts with you. All right. So, here we go. Skill number 1. Oh, so great to see you, Satyan. All right, guys, from all over the world. So happy to have you here. First skill, my lovelies. The first skill is the skill of observation, and it's a skill of deliberate observation. One of the things sometimes people hear this first skill as is positive thinking. That's like putting lipstick on a pig. Not interested in putting lipstick on a pig. You know what I'm saying? Much more interested, okay? Much more interested in selectively choosing where you put your attention. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to actually deliberately look for things to be blessed by. I remember giving this homework to someone in London, England once, and in fact, I just commented on it the other day. Denise, if you're here, you know who you were at the time. And I thought, oh my God, I remember having a sinking feeling inside. It's like, oh God, how could I help this person? Because she was very distraught and had many reasons to feel that. And I said, we're going to give you very simple homework. I want you to be vigilant for the good. Okay, so this is called the Vigilance for the Good exercise. Listen, you could stop it after 3 days. Now, does that mean we're putting lipstick on a pig? Hell no. We're not putting lipstick on a pig. We're not faking it, okay? It's just that most people right now have so many things that suck to look at and so many things to be right about, and you could be right about them all day, but at the end of the day, you have to have at least 10 things that are basically examples of vigilance for the good. Get out a journal, write them down. What are the good things that have happened? Now, on this page, we're going to share good things that are happening in the world all the time. You could watch those videos. Maybe you watch 10 of them on the page. There you go. There's your 10 things. But I want you to watch for them when you're over at the drugstore. I want you to watch for them when you're out for your walk. I want you to watch for them whenever. You're going to train your brain for the next 3 days to be vigilant for the good. Why? Because in physics, and in fact, even in your brain's, basically there's a little device at the base of your brain called a reticular activating device. That reticular activating device, if you don't train it to be vigilant for something, it's going to be vigilant for the usually the most scary thing, because when you've had PTSD or you have something bad happen as a child, your reticular activating device will actually start to be vigilant for things that look like the most scary event that's happened in your life, and then you have to protect against it. Right now, there's a lot of that to look for. So what we're asking you to do is actually retrain that filter, which is a real scientific filter. This is not woo-woo stuff, okay? All right. So that's the real brain stuff. The physics of this is when you start telling consciousness or life that you're more interested in things that flow, things that feel good to you, feel things that you appreciate, something you're grateful for. When you tell physics that, the interesting thing is, it's amazing how much more of that stuff starts showing up. Okay? And you get much more inspired action. So the second skill number 1, everyone agreed? We're on, right? We're all in this together. Number 2, in order to stay in flow, you can see how the first one will put you in flow, right? So the second is looking for actions that would actually cause some aspect of your life to be better. So the second one is taking action, not looking for, taking action as a result of being vigilant for the light. Now, the action could be you pick up the phone and talk to your long lost sister. But the action could also be putting a heart in your window and saying, for people that walk by, it's like it's all going to be okay. Just soothe some hearts. Look for some inspired action you can take to act upon the vibes that you're vigilant for. You're going to actually act on them. Appreciate someone, make a phone call. So that is number 2. Why does that have to do with flow? Because it isn't through the thinking. I'm not a very fluffy person. I'm actually a very action-based person. So if you don't do something with your vigilance for the light, what happens is it will just fade. And you guys know that. I bet you there's a whole bunch of you watching right now who've taken programs and courses, and you still have the programs and courses either recorded on your computer, or you have a program or course sitting on a shelf somewhere. That's not super interesting to me. Right? What we want to do is we're telling consciousness, we're telling life, we're telling physics that we're actually interested in acting upon something. So I can't wait to hear what you act upon. I can't wait to hear what you share. So skill number 2 is acting upon the new frequency at which you're living. Doing something different than what you were doing before. Okay, sound good? All right. The third skill for living in flow. The third skill of living in flow is actually consistency. The homework I'm going to give you is going to help you with consistency. So how many of you guys know that, let's say you start some new habits and then one day the mail doesn't come, or you're expecting a check, it doesn't come, or your bank account goes down. It just pulls you right out of your normal flow. The other day, something like that happened to me where it was super, super upsetting. Someone was dying of COVID, and it was very upsetting to me. And it pulled me right out of my flow. And I had to ask the question, because I wasn't being consistent. Now, does it mean that I'm not upset? No. But if I'm going to be upset about something, then gosh darn it, first of all, I'm going to let myself feel it, but I'm not going to let it take me out. So I let myself feel it, let myself have it flow through. But everything always comes back to, why am I here? Why am I even on the planet? Why does my life matter? I mean, if the entire universe thought it was a good idea, right? And Pauline is saying that's why you don't try to do it on your own. It's exactly what we're going to talk about in the world of consistency, okay? So this third skill, for those of you that are super independent, this skill, I will almost guarantee you that if you've been struggling at all in any place, especially in relationships, this skill is going to matter a lot. Consistency. I'm going to call it radical self-responsibility. So there are 3 ways. If you do all three ways to be radically self-responsible, if you do all 3 of these, you totally get gold stars in heaven. No, you don't. But I made that up. But these 3 ways. So the first thing is join a community that supports you. Find some online communities. Some of you may already be in one. We have one. It's called the Wide Awake TWA Playground. You can look it up and go and join. Find a community that actually empowers and gives you a step up and a place to ask questions so your mind can have peace. That's number one. Okay? It could be 3 of your girlfriends jump on Zoom every day and you guys just talk to each other. I don't care what it is. Okay? So that's the first thing in consistency. You need community. Won't happen without it. Okay? If you want flow, you need a support system, period. So for those of you that have independence disease, I don't know anything about that. I've never had independence disease. Totally had that. Okay? This is going to make a huge difference to you. Number 2, in the world of consistency, sticky notes. They saved my life. And I tell you my favorite sticky note to put up all over your house, like 20 sticky notes. You just get I have heart-shaped sticky notes somewhere. I don't know where they went. But anyways, my heart-shaped sticky notes, I put and I just write something on them to remind me of my homework, which we'll talk about in a second, okay? To remind me to be vigilant for the light, right? Okay. So the third aspect of this third skill of consistency requires a practice, okay? Consistency requires a practice to somehow quiet your mind. I'm going to make a distinction here. It's a very quick distinction. Distinction for men, meditation, fabulous. The kind of meditation that brings you in, relaxes you in, quiets the mind. I like binaural beats. I'll post a link to some binaural beats that I use to meditate. But if you're a woman, I find that walking in nature is actually much better because men's brains are more, let's say that's why men invented meditation. Women's brains, so they're more linear, they're more focused. Women's brains it's like a superhighway, right? It's like an internet. So everything's connected to everything. So going out in nature is where everything is connected to everything. It's the greatest place to find peace. Very, very powerful. So you have to have a practice. And I'm just telling you, it's what's worked for me. When you get to an embodied state, you don't have to do it as much, and sometimes you don't have to do it at all. But most of us are not to that embodied state of mastery of awakening. We are to some degree, even the masters. Even those of us that some people look at us like masters. Remember not to guru-ize anyone again. Nobody is better than anybody else. We're all in this together. But even people who are in some form of mastery have a practice, I promise you, including me, right? So going for a walk in the woods, you're going to have to figure out how much time it takes you to get back in your body. So here's how you know you've done it. You're not splintered by anyone or anything. Nobody is pulling on you. An upset isn't pulling on you. Nothing is pulling on you. It's as though you've cleared the decks of your mind. You with me? So, all right. So there are the 3 skills. You got it? I will write them out in the top, or if someone wants to do that right now, you can write out the 3 skills bullet points into the comments for everybody else. That'd be super cool. Write out the 3 skills, and I so appreciate you for doing that. Okay. So now, what is going on tomorrow? Tomorrow, I believe, is a day that we get to talk about, which I love. Let's say you're in flow, but you haven't developed communication skills with people who are not. People who are upset. Have you seen that? People upset in the grocery store? People wrestling over things, or you hear someone on TV, or your husband or wife goes off on a tangent about something that really super upset you or upset them. And let's say you don't know how to be with that, or you don't know how to have a conversation about that, or you don't know, you just don't know how to deal with it. Well, the cool thing is, you guys, that we are going to talk about that how to build a bridge with upset around you. And I promise you, this will work in your family, this will work in a company, this will work in a country. Isn't that cool? So what we're gonna share tomorrow will work with your children, it will work with your spouse, it will work with your dog, it won't work with your cat, because nothing works with a cat. It will work with a state, a province, it will work also with a globe. So we are gonna talk about that tomorrow at 3:33. Come on now. And I will do the same thing. I will show you 3 skills. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna build another sticky note, okay? And then there's the 3rd day, but I'm not gonna tell you yet because it's super juicy good. All right, now, last but not least, so your homework, I'm gonna tell you about sticky notes, your homework. So if you go to www.thewideawakening.com/7 steps, you will find something super cool. I hope. And it's the 7 steps for becoming a living magnet to a wildly abundant life. And it's all about flow, okay? It's called, so your homework is, if you have not yet downloaded that, it's called the 7 steps for becoming a living magnet to a wildly abundant life. It's all about community. It's all about everything we just talked about. Okay. So, and it's just so simple. It's literally why I'm in front of you. My life wouldn't have changed without these tools. You could absolutely share that page with other people. I will put it in the comments. I will put it up above and all of that kind of stuff, okay? So that's part 1 of your homework. Part 2 is sticky notes. Sticky notes, the best thing ever. Okay, we are gonna put, and thank you, Bonnie, for putting all the steps up there. All right, and cats do own you. All right. The sticky note is, what can I do to feel better now? That you're gonna ask a question, the most powerful sticky notes, because it's like a reset, right? You know how your brain goes down the slippery slopes and oh my gosh, the kids, and oh, I gotta water the grass, and holy cow, I gotta go shopping for something, or I got no toilet paper, you know? And you get pulled, you get splintered in life. What I do is I put sticky notes everywhere. I'll see if I can take a picture of some of them and post them in the comments somewhere. I put sticky notes everywhere, and I usually consistently use the same one if it's a powerful one. Right now, the one that I'm putting up, because it applies to these times, is what can I do to feel better right now? Why? Because remember I told you about that reticular activating device that actually is a filter for what you choose to focus on? It tells your brain whether to focus on things you're afraid of or be vigilant for the good in the world. The cool thing is, if you can change your relationship to life in a second, which you can, you could go and watch the news now, and even some of you might have been watching before. If you come here and listen to what we're doing here, you're gonna feel a little bit better, right? So now what we wanna do is we wanna take our power back and put sticky notes all over our house that say, what can I do to feel better right now? Anything. Now, for some of you, you have some really sad news that came in. What would feel better right now is to go and cry. I am not talking about putting lipstick on a pig. I'm actually talking about what can I do to feel better right now. It could be phone someone. You remember skill number 2? It could be phone someone to thank them for who they've been in your life. Right? It could be writing a list of what you're grateful for. But this is your time to it's not to look to me, it's to look at you. Because the more you can start to get your brain into answering that question, the more you become resilient and self-sufficient. And you stop being a victim of your life, of politics, of viruses, of anything. It requires diligence and consistency. It requires team. So I put 20 why not? I mean, 10, 20, who cares, right? Give or take 100. I put sticky notes on my computer, in my car, put them in my purse, put them on the back of my door, the front of my doors, when I walk in, walk out. What can I do to feel better right now? Sometimes it's just smile. Sometimes I go and watch, I really have found Wanda Sykes hilarious lately, so I've been watching her comedy special. I love SGN by John Krasinski. Oh my God. Hashtag I love John Krasinski. Hashtag I am totally going to be his roving reporter. Just want to let you know. So if you haven't watched SGN, oh my gosh, it's on our page here. You can go and search it out. Pass it on. Oh my God, good vibes. What can I do to feel better right now? Okay, you still have permission to feel down and yucky. And sometimes you need to do something to feel a little bit better from that, right? Sometimes you just need, some of you process out loud. Go and talk to someone. Talk to a friend and say, I just need you to listen right now. I just need to get this out of me. And that'll make you feel better right now, okay? So it's not about lipstick on a pig. It's wherever you're at, you're gonna feel a little bit better right now. Some of you is just dancing around your kitchen with, September by Earth, Wind & Fire playing. You know what I'm saying? I do that all the time. That's why I'm using that one. So, you guys, good enough for now? Are we good? It's on. It's on like Donkey Kong, people. So I'm doing the homework with you. The team is doing the homework with you. Can't wait for day 2. Love you so much. Remember, day 2, all about that's nice that you're vigilant for the light, but you know there's a whole bunch of people in your life that ain't gonna, in fact, you're probably gonna annoy them. So don't try to enroll other people in this exercise unless they really are looking for a way to take their power back. They don't want to feel like a victim anymore. Those are the people we're looking for in these 3 days. The people that don't want to feel a victim anymore about life. People that want to take the power back for themselves and in this world so that we don't have to feel a victim of anything or anyone. We actually are at cause in our lives, in this country, in this world, wherever you are in the world. So thank you all. De rien, ma chérie, to Marie Tassé up there in Canada. And yeah. Okay, you guys, pass it on, share it with some people. Let's get a couple hundred people up for this 3 days doing the homework. And really excited to see you tomorrow talking about the communication piece. How do you be with, build bridges for, how do you not get activated or reactive about people that you love? How do you actually kind of flow through some of the polarity that is here without having it, turn into righteousness or butting heads or anything like that. We're going to talk about some serious skills tomorrow. All right, you guys, I love you. Remember, www.thewideawakening.com/7 steps, the number 7 steps, and you can go and download that beautiful, beautiful magazine, the 7-step document that we did, my team and I, who I am so grateful for. Okay, love you guys. Tomorrow, 3:33, be here or be a rectangle. Bye.